Welcome to Bungalows for Bachelors. We just got done with the gravity design for this house, so we are going to move into the lateral design. The first thing we got to do here is determine where we are building this thing because we kind of need to know if it's a seismic category or a wind category, what's going to determine our design. For the purposes of what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to say that I happen to be designing by the wind. There are no seismic problems, therefore I'm going to design by wind speed, and I'm going to say my design wind speed is going to be 115 miles per hour. So I'll write that up here. I'm designing for 115 mile per hour. All right, that's going to matter when I get to all my lengths and stuff from tables. So if I'm doing 115 miles per hour, then that's that. The next thing is I'm going to need to draw and label my braced wall lines. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and select a color here. Let's do blue. All right, so my braced wall lines are going to be on the very first thing I want to do is basically trace the exterior. So I'm going to ignore the porch because there's no walls here to deal with. I'm going to deal with the front wall. So I've got this wall and I've got the back wall. All right, well, so here's what's going on here. This is a patio. There's no wall here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Oops, I got to select that color and make it stay. I'm going to do this guy here. And what's going to happen is I'm essentially going to treat this like one braced wall line. And I'm going to show you that the braced wall line that I'm going to use for my numbers is right in the middle. It's a dashed line, okay? So basically what I'm doing here is I'm saying right here, other way around. I'm saying right here is braced wall line A. Braced wall line A. Great. So, well, how is that my braced wall line if that's not where my walls are? Well, that's because the rule is as long as because houses are never like boxy and perfect shapes. So my braced wall line, which can be a theoretical line, as long as my real walls don't deviate more than 4 feet from that line, in this case I'm exactly 4 feet because this is an 8-foot dimension offset. So as long as they don't deviate more than 4 feet from my theoretical line, I get to count that wall as part of my braced wall line. So in terms of the left-right direction, from the wind blowing from the right or from the left, I've got a braced wall line A up top here, and I've got a braced wall line B at the bottom here. Braced wall line B. Okay, now I'm going to ask myself, the first question is, I'm designing by wind, so the maximum I could go is 60 feet. I got 54 feet here, so I'm okay. However, I'm going to look at that spacing because that's a long ways to go without any bracing, and it's going to make my requirement kind of heavy for how much I need to be installing in terms of bracing. That's 50 feet. That's a long ways to go. So what that means is the farther apart these are, the more panels and stuff I'm going to need to put in this wall. And I already don't have hardly any space. I'm already going to probably have to do some funky stuff in here. So that's going to be that. But we want to possibly try something different here. So I'm going to look for walls in here that I might be able to put some leaden braces in and kind of cut this house up into some better numbers. So that's a good wall for a leaden brace. That's a clear wall for a leaden brace, but I got a toilet. Well, the toilet plumbing is not going to be super problematic. I got a sink, so there's going to be some plumbing in the wall. So as long as my leaden brace is up high, it's probably not going to matter. But I do need to think about that a little bit. And that's a clear wall right there. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do is we're going to use this wall. And we're going to use this wall. And we're going to have this braced wall line. Now, the walls don't have to be touching each other and connected for me to claim this as a braced wall line. As long as I follow the rule of I got a panel that's somewhere within 10 feet of the beginning and 10 feet of the end, and I don't go more than 20 feet along my line without not having a panel. All right, so there's another one. Let's see. So I could definitely put one here and maybe put one here. There is a rule for the minimum uh, angle I have on my lead brace. I can't put it too steep in my wall; it won't count. So um, I can't. I'd have to check to make sure that I can do that, but I'd be better off. I can't. This one's great, but I'm not connecting all the way through the house here, so it's not ideal. Now, what if I tell you what I could do is technically I could have the braced wall line be this if I could get something to start within 10 feet of my wall here. So what's my distance? I could claim this as long as I follow that rule. So here to here is 8 feet. Oh man, look at that. Oops. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to claim that wall. That's a little bit better. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4 brace wall lines to cover. So how do I do this? Well, I got the left-right directions taken care of, and now this is no longer braced wall line B. This is braced wall line D. And I'm going to grab this and this. Copy. Right there, and I've got one right there. Okay. So this is brace wall line B because I'm descending. Oops. Actually, I don't need that dimension there anymore. And brace wall line C. Okay. Now I need to do vertical, which is going to be much easier because I have tons of wall and there's pretty much 2 of them. So I'm going to go from the top and I'm going to say I'm going to go ahead and use that wall. And I'm going to use that wall. And I'm going to what is this, 711? Okay, so I could do this as well. So because I have, so I could design with this wall here and basically ignore this little piece, and I know I'd have tons of design strength and everything. But um, this will be a brace wall line, but it's going to be in like an uncalculated brace wall line. It's just going to be like panels on it. So, but what I can also do, because this is less than 8 feet, is I can just put them in one and go right in the middle. Bring that brace wall line down to here. Hopefully that's somewhat perpendicular. All right, so that's the brace wall line. And the path of the braced wall line is actually from there. It crosses over and it goes down through this wall. So my braced wall line is actually right here. So I'm going to be cheating just a little bit there. Copy and paste. This is one. This is two. All right, and I'm going to get that line drawn all the way to there. Okay. So I got a 1 and a 2, and I got an A, a B, a C, and a D. I got them drawn and labeled. Let's get some dimensions on them. I am going approximately 15 foot, 11 3/4 there. And then this one is A to B, B to C, and C to D. Don't worry too much about like exactly where to put it because of the wall thicknesses and stuff. These are all approximated. Okay, so I've got those distances. Those are going to tell me some important things with some requirements. So the next thing I need to do is I'm going to throw in some brace wall panels based on my minimums. So I know I need a brace wall panel, and it needs to be start 10 feet from the beginning of each line, and not go farther than 20 feet apart. So we'll start with brace wall line A. So I got a nice blank sheet of wall here, so I'm gonna get my circle in here so I can get a 4 foot circle. Okay, so what this is gonna allow me to do is draw my panels a little more accurately each time. Okay, so oops, that's not a line. That's a line. Okay, so that's my 4 foot panel, and I'm gonna put this over here. I got a 4 foot panel at the start and a 4 foot panel at the end. And then these definitely aren't more than 20 feet apart because the whole building's 20 feet wide. So in terms of the left to right distance, the way I would do this is I would approximate where I'm at here, and I would take that distance. I'm only concerned with the horizontal distance, 12 foot. So I'm good. It's the distance along my braced wall line here that I'm concerned with. So, oops, I did something silly. I can't do this, and that's because I have a window here. So I'm going to have to do one of two things. That one works because I missed the door. But I'm either going to have to do a smaller panel next to the window, and that is determined by a table that says if you're next to a window, what is the height of the window opening, and what's the height of your wall, and it's going to tell me what minimum length panel in inches I'm required to do there. If I can't fit that, then I'm going to have to do a portal. And the portal is basically going to look something like this, where I have a short sheet of sheathing on both sides, and it means my header in the window, and my header is actually going to extend over those so that they overlap, right? And it's going to get nailed on. And it means that that header now has to be a minimum of 2-ply 2x12 in order to get enough strength area for the portal. So the original framing plan might have said I can use 2x6s here, but now if I have a portal, I can't do that. I have to use a 2x12. All right, it's all in the rules. So I'm going to check real quick and pause the video and come back with the number on how if I can fit a panel next to the window or not. Okay, so I checked the numbers, and what the table says is if I have an 8-foot ceiling height and the window opening height is, in this case, there's a 5-foot window, so 60 inches, then that means I can put a 24-inch panel next to the window. So as long as I have more than 24 inches here, I'm just going to use one full panel next to the window. Yeah, I'm almost 3 feet. All right, so I'm going to leave that panel there, and I'm going to go ahead and just account for the same thing here. And what I'm going to do is I know that's the same requirement, right? It's 24-inch panel. I'm going to use up both of those lengths because I know I'm going to need as much length as I can to meet the requirements, just because this is a lot of house. It's going to be tricky, so I want as much as I can. All right, so I want to know how much length I have here, approximately. It's going to be roughly the same for both. And this guy is a 4-foot sheet. Okay. And there will be a little extra here, but we don't get to count that for our math purposes. Not enough. All right. So I've got those, and each one of these is going to be method CSWSP. If you recall, that means continuous sheathing all the way around my whole house, and it's a wood structural panel. It's OSB or plywood, or maybe some zip system, something like that. All right. So each one of these is going to be this. And I'm going to have some different methods in here, so it's going to be important to differentiate. So there's brace wall line A. Let's try brace wall line B. So the max I can go for steepness on a leaden brace, and I want as much length as I can squeeze out of these, is I can go at a 45-degree angle, which means if my wall is 8 feet tall, then I can go 8 feet. even though the wall's technically like a few inches over that. It's like an inch and 1/8 or something. So I'm just gonna round to 1/8 though, or not 1/8, 8 feet. All right. So I'm gonna take my circle. That's my 4-foot circle. I'm gonna leave him there. Actually, I'm not. 4-foot circle's diameter is 8 feet. Oops. Not if I change it. I want to move it. Okay. So it looks like I can squeeze in, if I just take the whole wall, then I'm not going to exceed it. All right, so I can write on either side of this, whatever's easier to read. I'm going to just do lead and brace on that. And that's also a full 8 foot. So I'm going to do lead and brace there. Okay. Well, I probably shouldn't have deleted that. So now I'm going to do a lead and brace method LIB. Okay. Do one there, copy, do one there. And then how much length did I get out of it? Well, let's so when this is framed, it's likely that wall is continuous and this wall is continuous, the long walls. So the short wall is going to be the one containing the lead and brace. So I'm going to go be on the inside distance there. So inside a wall to inside a wall gets me 8 feet. Okay. So I got those. Let's move on down. So they're definitely not more than 20 feet apart in the middle. And I got a start and I got one on the end. Good to go. Okay, this was the next one. All right, so here's a tricky one. Okay, so I need to put one at least right here because I got to get that 10-foot distance and I want to use as much as possible. So I'm going to do an 8-foot lead and brace. Now, if I was trying to maximize the length of bracing in the wall, the smarter thing would be to check the minimum length and see if I can fit 2 lead and braces in this entire length of wall versus just getting the 8 feet. So this would satisfy the rule for the start and the end, but I want as much length as possible. So let's see if that is sufficient. Okay, so 55 inches is the answer. So do I have, which is a hair less than 5 feet. So how much wall do I have here? I have 11 feet, so I should be able to fit 2. All right, so the first one, what is 55 inches? That's 5 inches less than 5 feet, which is 4'7". Okay. Oh yeah, all day long. So I'm going to make this one short to wherever 4'7" is, and then I'm going to draw another one to here. Okay, so I'm going to have one that's 4'7", and I'm going to have one that's whatever the other. I'm going to go to the inside here, 6'5". Okay, so I've meet the start and end rule, and I've got as much wall as possible. So that wall will have 2 lead and braces. Okay, let's go to the front wall. All right, so the front wall is a balloon framed wall. It's a little special, but we're going to treat it in terms of this plan. We're going to treat it the same in terms of meeting the requirements. So the first thing I want to know is, can I get a panel here within 10 feet of this corner so I can not have to do a portal on one of these? Let's find out. 9'6", correct. Good to go. All right, so I could put a panel here, and that will probably be fine with a panel here. But I'm going to try to, I need as much length as possible when I'm doing these walls, because because this is such a long, skinny house. That is the reason this is tricky. So there's a 4-foot panel. Can I fit a panel next to this door? Well, I have to know the opening height of the door is a 3068, so that's 80 inches. So I'm going to go check the requirement and see what size panel I can fit here with an 8-foot ceiling. Well, it's technically taller than 8-foot ceiling, so I'm probably going to go up to 9 foot for this little portion here because it's getting taller as we go up. Okay, so I can do a 30-inch, which is 2.5 feet. Oh man, that's tight. What's my, it's a 3068 door, 4 feet from the end. Okay, so here's sort of a dilemma. This is a 3 foot wide door. So that means the slab of the door is 3 feet wide, but I need a framed opening 2 inches wider than that. So if I took 4 feet and took off exactly 1.5 feet, then I'd have my 2.5 foot of sheathing panel. But the problem is that I have to lose an extra inch there. So I'm technically too short by an inch. So what I can just say is if I move this door over an inch, it's not going to be perfectly centered, but no one's going to know when I built the house, right? So I can say, assuming that whoever this house is for, assuming they're okay with that, if it saves them money in the design and they have to like not do something special, they're usually okay with it. But I'm going to do that. So I'm going to say I'm going to claim a 2'6" panel here, but I'm going to be very specific and note move door 1 inch left. Okay, right there. Move door 1 inch left. So that's going to give me enough wall and studs to get that full 2'6" wide panel exactly where I need it. Okay, cool. So that takes care of our minimums there. I should not have deleted that because I got to go the other direction. Let's give our 4-foot dimension on this dude. Okay, and they're definitely less than 20 feet apart. Cool. Top to bottom is taken care of. So let's talk about the wind blowing from the front or the back. We got brace wall lines 1 and 2. These are going to be much easier because we got nothing but a wall. All right, so we'll start at the corners. If you can put a panel in the corner, it is best to put the panel in the corner. The reason for that is for anchoring reasons, which we can talk about later. So there's the first one. Now I'm going to go 20 feet, and I'm going to do it this way. We could draw a circle with a 10-foot radius. Yeah, 10-foot radius will give me a 20-foot circle. Close enough. So I'm going to move this, and I'm just going to put it right here. So this is just showing me visually that, hey, by the way, I can go all the way to here before I have another 20 feet. So I'm going to go next to this window, and I'm going to draw another panel right here. Well, I'm going to move this first so I know how long to draw my panel. Put that right there. All right, making a 4-foot panel, less than 20 feet away from the other one. I'm going to move the circle up. Same tricks can apply with a ruler. I just don't have a ruler in this program. And I've got nothing but space, so I'm going to take a look at my corner and say, okay, well, I need at least another one at the corner. So somewhere in here, if I put another one, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put one in. And of course, this is arbitrary because I'm putting sheets all the way down this wall. So there's going to be a bunch of 4-foot sheets everywhere. Actually, I'm going to keep those. Right, so because I'm putting the 4-foot sheets everywhere, it doesn't really matter where I happen to draw these, especially for math purposes. Okay, let's check this side. Now, technically, the beginning of this brace wall line is this corner, even not this corner, because my line's starting here. So I'm going to move this to about there. Do my first panel. And then I can go 20 feet down this imaginary line, but I have a corner here, so it's just gonna, I'm just gonna know that, all right, I'm just gonna put a full sheet in this corner. And it's gonna look like this. And then I can go 20 feet down the wall. And I can put a panel, let's just say we'll put it next to this window. So we'll start here, go 4 feet. And then 20 feet gets me within the end of the house. So I'm going to put another panel here. Oop, what do we got going on here? We got a bunch of windows. All right. So these are some skinny walls. I can tell you right now, these are probably not going to work. Now, all the windows are the same. They're all the 3050 windows. And back here, I knew that a 24-inch was my minimum for the panel. I've got the same thing going on because I have an 8-foot wall right here. So if I'm lucky and I have 24-inch spacing between these windows, then I can do this. Because I can't fit it there. That's just not 24 inches. Nope. Maybe this is 24 inches, 2 feet. Do I have 2 feet? 2'4". Cool. Well, I got lucky. This is why it sometimes helps to know as an architect or someone designing the house how to space things out. Because if I cram a bunch of windows and doors into this corner, I can't get any lateral bracing in this corner. And so I'm going to have to do something special. And special means expensive and problematic because if people don't read the plan right and you're not the one doing it, then good luck. All right, so let's just put a panel in there and it'll end up being whatever length it is. Roughly 2'3". And that's within 10 feet of the corner and within 20 feet of the next panel. So boom de yada, get rid of those. Okay, so that's where all my panels are going to go. I happen to know, I'm going to label these. It's all continuous sheathing, wood structural panel. Right there. Oops. Right there. That one. And that one. That one. That one. That one. And that one. Okay. So the more thorough you are in labeling all the stuff that's on here, then the better the other people can follow your plan. But I'm doing the purpose. I'm not teaching you how to make a clean looking plan. I'm teaching you how to know that your house isn't going to fall down. So that takes care of all the outside. We got lead and brace marked there. Let's go ahead and copy that. Put it here, and because there's a second one, I'll put it like here, I guess. 2 lead and braces. All right. All the panels and types are marked. Now we need to know if we're going to pass the length test, and we're going to do that in the next video.